And welcome to True Sports episode 57. Live post-game coverage of Game 1 of the NBA Finals. The Denver Nuggets beat the Miami Heat 104-93. The Heat trying to make a late comeback, but Nikola
Yeah,
Jokic Nikola Jokic was just too much. 27 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. His ninth triple-double of the NBA playoffs.
wow.
All this year. He's a super beast out there on the court.
He certainly is.
And the Miami Heat only had 2 free throw attempts all game long. Just 2 free throw attempts. That's a wacky stat.
That is. That's unheard of, especially for Miami when you got, Jimmy Buckets. But as I said, that the Heat would have a tough hill to climb against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, so they got the work cut out for them. They made it interesting in the fourth quarter as they got to with single digits, but that Denver offense is just too much. And I think it's going to be a problem for the Heat as they go on in the series.
Yep. The Heat. One thing the Heat need to work on is more accurate shooting from the court, from overall, whether it's 2 pointer or 3 pointer.
Hmm.
So game 2 is I believe Sunday at 9, right? Or 8:30. I think it's
I think it's 7:30
7:30. Hey? Oh yeah, that's
or
right.
7:30 o'clock again.
NBA Finals. Game 2 is at 8 p.m. on
Eight,
ABC.
eight. Okay, pregame then 7:30.
Yep. We'll do the we'll recap that game on episode 59, while episode 58 will recap game 1 of the Stanley Cup final between the Florida Panthers and the Vegas Golden Knights.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Vegas has power. Florida has resilience.
Hmm. What will prevail, power or resilience? That's the question.
But neither of them won a Stanley Cup.
True,
That's
but they've
that.
both been there. But they've both been there before.
At least once. Well, just once each.
Right.
Florida back in 1996, and then Vegas just 5 years back to
Yeah.
2018.
Yeah.
So some baseball going on. That'll be included in your True Sports Report. Lois, go ahead.
And we do have baseball to talk about. Not a lot of games on schedule tonight. Then again, Thursday usually is a light night in the league. So here we go. The Blue Jays over the Brewers 3-1. Grishman got the winning pitcher. Perna got the save, and Perna got the loss, and Romano got the save. Mets do it again over the Phillies, 4-2. Scherzer got the win, Walker got the loss, and D. Smith got the save. Hmm. Padres over the Fish, aka the Marlins, 10-1. Musgrove got the win, and Luzardo got the loss. D-backs edged the Rockies 5-4. Kingrel got the win, and Johnson got the loss. Red Sox over the Reds, 8-2. Martin got the win, and Herger got the loss. Twins over the Guardians, 7-6. Jax got the win. Morgan got the loss. And that's Jax, Gax. And finally, the Astros of the Angels, 5-2. Blanco got the win. Demetrius got the loss, and Presley got the save. All right, so we'll go to tomorrow's schedule. A full schedule indeed, and it goes this way. All right, that's not it. Let's try it again. So we have a full schedule, and the Yankees, of course, are still on the road on the West Coast. Boy. So it goes like this: the Brewers will take on the Reds at 5:10. The A's will take on the Marlins at 6:40. 7:05. The Phillies take on the Nationals, and the Cardinals will take on the Pirates. 7:10. We'll have the Rays take on the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays taking on the Mets. 8:05. The Mariners will take on the Rangers. We got a slew of A10 games here. As the Angels will take on the Astros. The Guardians will take on the Twins. The Rockies will take on the Royals, and your Tigers will take on the White Sox. Got a pair of 9:40 games as the Braves take on the D-backs. The Cubs will take on the Padres. And on the West Coast, the Yankees will take on the Dodgers at 10:10, and the Orioles will take on the Giants at 10:15. All right, so the standings, as we now are past the 50 game mark, get a little bit interesting this time of year, and it goes like this. In the East, the Rays are 40-18, have a 4-game lead over the Orioles at 35-21. The Yankees are 34-24, 8 back. The Blue Jays 30-27, 9.5 back, and the Red Sox 29-27, 10 back, despite being in last place. Still a respectable division. To the Comedy Central of the AL, oh boy, the Twins are still the only team above 500 at 30-27. Have a 2.5 game lead with the Tigers at 26-28. Well, Guardians 25-31, 4.5 back. The White Sox 23-35, 7.5 back, and the Royals 17-39, 12.5 back. Oh boy, so much for 2015. Oh boy, the West, the Rangers 35-20 have a 2.5 game lead with the Astros at 33-23. The Mariners 29-27, 6.5 back. Also 6.5 back are the Angels at 30-28, and the A's are still the A's at a miserable, pathetic 12-46, 24.5 back.
12 and 46, 40,
Yep,
14 and a half back,
24.5 back.
24 and a half back. Damn.
Yep, and it's June 1st. Okay, opening the National League, the Braves 33-23 have a 3.5 game lead over the Mets, 30-27. Oh boy. The Marlins, hey, picking up some steam here, 29-28, just 4.5 back. Phillies are sliding off at 25-31, 8 back. And the Nationals, 24-32, 9 back. Oh boy. All right, to the other Comedy Central, known as the NL Central. Well, it's a little bit more decent. The Brewers are 29-27. The Pirates are just a half game back at 28-27. The Reds 26-33 back. It's not terrible, but it's not great. Cardinals 25-32, 4.5 back, and also 4.5 back are the Cubs at 24-31. Hopes are sinking fast on the south side of Chicago. Okay. Oh, got an interesting development here in the West as the D-backs and the Dodgers are tied at 34-23. Have a 5.5 game lead with the Giants at 28-28. Not bad. Padres, 26-30, 7.5 back, and the Rockies are at Rocky Mountain Low at 24-34. Yes, I said Rocky Mountain Low. Sorry. Oh boy.
That's
Well,
appropriate.
you can't be a Rocky Mountain High if you're losing.
No, that's appropriate.
And so much for my play on words. And of course, the NBA, we had the Nuggets beating up on Miami. There's the Heat 104-93. Game 2, Sunday night. Okay. And the NHL will have the first game of their finals on Saturday night as the Knights take on the Florida Panthers. Good luck. All right, so we'll get to the news items of the day, and away we go. Just came across something a little while ago, as NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has indicated that he has reached a decision regarding on the league office's looming action discipline against Grizzlies star Ja Morant, but would wait until the finals to be over before announcing the punishment. It seems fair. The Grizzlies suspended Morant on May 14th, pending a league review after the social media post circulated showing the All-Star flashing a firearm. The league suspended Morant for 8 games for a similar incident back in March when he traveled to New York to meet with the commissioner to discuss the issue. During his annual press conference before the finals, Silver said the history of prior acts and the individual player's history would be considered when assessing what discipline to take. We uncovered a fair amount of information since I was asked about the situation, Silver said today. I would say we could have brought to a head today, but we reached a decision and believe that the Players Association agrees with us that it would be unfair to these players and the teams in the middle of this final series to announce the results of the investigation. And given that he's been suspended by the Grizzlies indefinitely, so nothing has changed in the last few weeks, it seemed to park it at the moment, at least by any public announcement. As the NBA Finals are set to begin, one referee that will not be on hand is Eric Lewis. As the finals begin, the Heat and the Nuggets began tonight as the league looked into whether he used a Twitter account to defend himself and other officials from online critiques. Okay. Lewis had been chosen to work the finals in each of the last 4 seasons. This year's finals officials were announced by the league early this morning, about 12 hours before the start of Game 1. After some tweets that have now been deleted were revealed to a pair of Twitter users last week, the league then opened an investigation into whether Lewis had violated league rules by speaking about officiating in an unauthorized manner. It had not yet been determined whether Lewis was using the account under the alias of Blair Cundriff. Blair. The account was deactivated last week, but was activated again last night. Oh boy. Regarding Lewis and the social media post, we are conducting to review the matter and will not be working in the finals, said by NBA spokesperson Mike Bass. The league has not released a timetable for the completion of the investigation of its probe into whether Lewis used the Twitter account. It is also not known what discipline from the league Lewis would face if he broke the policy by discussing officiating matters openly without approval. Serves you right, buddy. Okay. Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla will return to coach the Celtics next season, according to team president Brad Stevens. He is a terrific leader, said Stevens, and will only get better at anything he can learn from the season because he is consistently trying to learn and he is accountable. Mazzulla led the Celtics to a 57-25 record in his first season as head coach, as the season ended Monday with a Game 7 loss to the Heat, which I found embarrassing because they lost that at home terribly. Mazzulla took over for Ime Udoka, who was suspended for the season in September for multiple violations of team rules. Okay. The Seattle Kraken signed general manager Ron Francis to a 3-year extension yesterday that will take him through the 26-27 season. This coming after the Kraken reached the playoffs in just their second season of existence. Hired to be their first general manager in franchise history, Francis navigated them through a difficult first season and helped the players turn Seattle into a playoff team in only their second year in their short history. Congratulations. Yeah. Monty Williams agreed to a 6-year deal worth $78 million to coach the Pistons, sources told ESPN. It is the largest coaching deal in NBA history. I was not aware of that. I thought maybe someone had more. Williams was fired by the Suns last month after 4 seasons as their head coach. The decision came after the Suns lost to the Nuggets in round 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Gee, I wonder who they lost to. Williams was coach of the year last season with a 194 and 115 record in the regular season and was 27-19 in the playoffs. Not bad. The Suns set a franchise record last season with 64 wins and reached the finals in 2021. Williams will replace Dwayne Casey, who stepped down as head coach in April to move into the front office. Casey coached the Pistons for 5 years, but went 121 and 263 in that span, and only made the playoffs once in the 2018-2019 season, but were eliminated in the first round. My question is, why would you keep a guy that long who was terrible? Blah.
They got swept by the Bucks that season too.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you had a losing record for that long, and you still kept them, and yet you fire a coach that had your best winning season ever. Is it me, or does something not make sense here? Okay.
Why were Tom Gores and Troy Weaver waiting that long? They were showing too much loyalty to Dwayne Casey until this past regular season.
Yeah, 122-63 should have fired him long ago. Come on, people.
And after his second year.
And yet you fire a coach that gave you your best season of 52 wins, and you fire him this season for losing in the early rounds of playoffs. people. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so to go on, Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duran, selected numbers 5 and 13 last year's draft, provide a hope for the Pistons' future with their play last season. Cade Cunningham, the top overall pick in 2021, has second year cut short by a shin injury, only playing in 12 games. Ooh. Bogdanovich, who averaged 21.6, Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Stewart, and James Wiseman are all expected to return. The Pistons
Good.
have the 5th overall selection in this year's draft, which is just a few weeks from now.
And now they have a new head coach, Monty Williams from the Phoenix Suns.
Yes.
I bet he can develop at least a little bit better than Dwayne Casey can.
Oh,
Develop his players.
we would hope so, and not have a record like that.
He was he was great with the Phoenix Suns.
Right.
Can he be great with the Pistons? That's my question. Only time will tell.
Yeah, it's gonna take some work because the Pistons have a lot. They've been kind of bad for so long. It's gonna take a lot of work. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Future draft pick Victor Wembanyama could start his NBA career in Sacramento in the Summer League, or as I call it, NBA Summer School. Well, that's what I call it. The Spurs, who have the top overall pick in the June 22nd draft, are widely expected to select Wembanyama. Is one of the 6 teams that play in the Sacramento Classic, one of the smaller summer leagues that precede the one that where all teams participate in Las Vegas. The Hornets, who have the second round pick, will open their schedules in Sacramento, meaning the top 2 draft picks could face each other in the Summer League and not just in Vegas. The NBA Summer League in Vegas opens on July 7th. It should be pretty good. Another note here. Ron Holland, who was one of the top high school basketball players in the country, told ESPN that he'll play in the G League Ignite next season. Holland decommitted himself from Texas late in April, though was not released from his letter of intent until recently. Arkansas was projected as the early favorite if he wants to take the college route, given Razorbacks were one of the original finalists back in early November. But the G League path, which has produced such players as Jalen Green and Scott Henderson since the beginning, quickly became an option for Holland, who is number 6 in the ESPN way too early 2024 rankings, and yes, it is way too early. He is the number 2 ranked senior overall. Holland said the G League will help him reach his potential as a player and prepare him for the NBA to have a long career in the league. To have a long career in the league, I need to prepare my body and improve my skills as I continue in games. They have a program to develop my body and my game. I know I have to work on being more of a consistent shooter, along with the footwork and ball handling, so that I can score in space on the perimeter against a set defender. Holland also developed a strong relationship with Ignite coach Jason Hart. Holland said when he spoke to Hart, he said they were on the same page. He said he knew that winning was important to me, but also understands that I am willing to work hard at everything. Holland started 6 games in the FIBA Under-16 tournament, averaging 19 points and 10.2 rebounds a game. Then, a year later in the Under-17 tournament, where he averaged 11.1 points and 6.6 rebounds per game. Not bad. Predators are making a coaching change. At the bench as they are hiring Andrew Burnett to replace John Hines as head coach. Source ESPN. The Predators announced the firing of Hines on Tuesday, saying in a statement that assistant head coach Dan Lambert was also relieved of his duties as well. The Predators have yet to officially announce Burnett as head coach. Haynes spent part of 4 seasons with the Predators, replacing Peter Laviolette on January 7th of 2020. The Predators have reached the postseason in his first 2 years, but failed to get past the first round both times. The Predators missed the postseason for the first time since 2014 after an injury-hit season and finished 42, 32, and 8. Hines leads the Predators with a record of 194, 96, and 18. This will be the first head coaching job for Burnett since he was named interim coach of the Florida Panthers in October of 2021. The Panthers are headed to the Stanley Cup Finals to face the Golden Knights, which begin on Saturday. All right, to see if yeah. And, yeah. Kosovo's Tennis Federation has accused Novak Djokovic of already aggravating intense situations after he wrote Kosovo was the heart of Siberia on camera lens after his first round victory at the French Open on Monday. 30 NATO police peacekeeping soldiers were injured in the clashes with Siberian protesters in northern Kosovo, a section where Dvorak's father grew up. Siberia, who is comprised of the majority of Kosovo's north, have never fully accepted the country's declaration of independence from Siberia. They still see Belgrade as the capital 2 decades after a Kosovo Albanian uprising against repressive Serbian rule. Oh boy. Ethnic Albanians make up more than 90% of the population of Kosovo as a whole. The clash came as ethnic Albanian mayors took office in Siberia majority areas following elections that Siberians have boycotted. Dvorak wrote, "Stop the violence. Kosovo is the heart of Siberia." He later explained that he was against war, but defended his statement and described the situation as presented it. He's got a point, though. All right, and for you Capitals fans out there, Steve will love this. The Capitals have named Spencer Crabberry as their next head coach. That was determined on Tuesday. Crabberry will receive a 5-year deal, according to ESPN. He's been a busy name on the coaching circuit, most recently serving as assistant coach for the Maple Leafs and running their power play. He now returns to the Capitals organization, where he came up through in the rankings in both the ECHL and AHL counterparts. That's the minor leagues, folks. Sportsnet was the first to report on the hiring of Crabberry. For those who don't know what Sportsnet is, think of that as Canada's version of what we call ESPN. The Capitals parted ways with longtime coach Pierre Laviolette this offseason after missing the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. His contract was not renewed after 3 seasons with the team. He has since interviewed for other head coaching positions for other teams in the Metro Division area, such as my New York Rangers. Oh boy, here we go. The Capitals owner Ted Leonsis have promised Captain Alex Ovechkin that the team would continue to chase Stanley Cups as he continues to chase the league's all-time scoring record. Through General Manager Brian McClellan and begun an engineering and retooling so the team can get younger. Yeah, okay. We'll see about that. Oh, and in that Monday night game, Jason Tatum went down with an ankle injury in the Game 7 and was seen with a visible limp from the ankle sprain he suffered in the first quarter. It was frustrating to see that. I was a shell myself. Tatum said after playing 42 minutes and scoring 14 points on 5 for 13 shooting in the loss that ended the Celtics season and spoiled their chances to become the first team to win a playoff series trailing 3-0. There was a lot for the Celtics to be frustrated, starting with Tatum having bad luck on the landing on the Heat guard Gabe Vincent in the possession in the first possession of the game, but the worst was yet to come. The Celtics finished up with the worst three-point shooting game of the season, shooting 7 for 35 in Game 6 and 9 for 42 in Game 7. That equaled their second worst shooting performance of the season. The Celtics played 7 games this season where they shot under 26% from three-point range, and Game 6 was only one where they came away with the win. Oh boy. The Celtics watched as Caleb Martin continued his assault on the Celtics by going 11 for 16, scoring 26 points, while MVP of the series, Jimmy Butler, scored 28 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. The Heat shot 14 for 28 from three-point range in Game 7 and were 20 for 58 in the last two games of the series. We got punked, said Celtics for Grant Williams. We did not play our best game from start to finish. On the defensive side, we lost it, and we lost on the offense. They were scrambled and tried to do everything ourselves, and it just did not go our way. And it certainly did not. I expected better from that game 7 at home.
You got to play smarter than just scramble.
Yeah.
Don't just count
All
on
right.
luck.
Yeah. So the SEC will not be going to a 9-game conference schedule this year, but is dumping the divisions starting in 2024. Good. I hate divisions in college football. Commissioner Greg Sankey told ESPN that the league has a temporary 8-game conference schedule when Texas and Oklahoma join the conference next year. Sankey said the league will continue to explore scheduling options for 2025 and beyond that. He had also strongly hinted his preference at a 9-game conference schedule during the spring meetings in Florida. The proposal would feature three permanent opponents that would preserve long-standing rivalries as well as 6 rotating opponents. The Yankees got some good news here as manager Aaron Boone said that Josh Johnson, Giancarlo Stanton, oh boy, and Tommy Cannell could be returning to the active roster just in time for their weekend series against the Dodgers, which begins tomorrow. Boone was not saying it was definite yesterday, saying the trio would rejoin the Yankees before the weekend series against the Dodgers, but there was indication that all 3 soon would return. It is certainly possible, but let's get through today first. Of course. All 3 were playing in a rehab game for AA Somerset on Tuesday. Donaldson was 1 for 4 in his 4th rehab game since returning from a strained right hamstring, and Stanton was hitless in his 3 at-bats in his first game since April 15th from a strained left hamstring. Cannell gave up a run and a hit and walked 2 batters. Boone said, though, he was not concerned about Stanton returning after playing just 1 rehab game. He did say that Stanton would likely be more of a DH for the next few weeks after he joined the Yankees. Donaldson had been out since April 6th. Cannell has not pitched since the regular season due to right bicep tendonitis. Wow. Well, it looks like Tom Brady means it this time, saying that he's not going to return to the NFL next season after he formally retired 4 months ago. I am certain I am not playing again, so I have tried to make that very clear, and I hate to continue to profess that, since I've done that so many times before, Brady told Sports Illustrated in response to fans and the media who continue to come up with these scenarios where we're saying that he might return to the field. Brady went on to say that he's looking forward to beginning work as a broadcaster for Fox in 2024 and the opportunity ahead with the Raiders as he recently purchased a small stake in the ownership group. He also wants to spend more time with his family. Just spending as much time as my kids and watch them grow up and support different things they have going on. That's a very important job, and I have to take that very seriously. Raiders owner Mark Davis announced last week that Brady agreed to the Raiders ownership group pending NFL approval, as with all prospective majority and minority owners must have 2/3 of all voters to approve Brady's partnership. Phillies first baseman Alec Bohm was out of the starting lineup in last night's game and lost to the Mets as he suffered with back tightness for the second time in 3 games. Bohm underwent an MRI yesterday as the Phillies were awaiting the results. Yuck. Phillies manager Rob Thompson said it was too soon to tell if Bohm would need to be heading to the injured list. He sat out Sunday's loss to the Braves with the same issue. The Phillies had an off day on Monday. Edmundo Sosa started at 3rd on Wednesday and batted 9th and hit a homer off Carlos Carrasco. Thompson said that Bohm felt discomfort on Tuesday after fielding a slow roller. He played the entire game but went 0 for 3 in the loss to the Mets. Bohm is batting .265 with 6 home runs and 37 RBIs on the season. Yeah. Money got paid all right. And Show Me the Money is doing it again. He homered in 2 consecutive innings, including a rocket that went 459 feet for his longest home run of the season and drove in 4 runs as the Angels beat the White Sox. Mike Trout hit a 461 home run in the first to give the Angels their first lead of the game. His home run was just 4 rows short of clearing the left field bleachers. Taylor Ward also went deep as the Angels hit 4 2-home run shots and a solo shot for the most runs they have scored so far this season. That was 12-2. The two-way Angels starters batting .269 with 15 home runs and 30 RBIs, and it's 5-1 as a starting pitcher. Some guys have all the luck. Blue Jays first baseman Vlad Jr., Vladimir Guerrero Jr. that is, used some quick thinking to get out of a jam in last night's game against the Brewers. When Guerrero fielded Christian Yelich's leadoff grounder in the 5th, the ball was stuck in the webbing of his glove. I swear I'm not making that up. Guerrero removed the glove and flipped it to pitcher Trevor Richards and was able to get the out. The Brewers, however, went on to beat the Blue Jays 4-2. Former Giants first baseman Terry Mulholland and former Yankee pitcher Orlando Hernandez each once tossed their gloves into the first baseman to get the outs. This is not the first time Guerrero had issues with the glove. He had 2 throws going through his webbing last season that cost them the game, that cost them against the Mariners last July. Strange but true. Yeah. And one more. The Washington Commanders placed guard Andrew Norwell on the reserve and on the PUP list with the intent of releasing him. Okay. Multiple sources. Injured reserve. Yep. And the multiple sources have said in the past 2 months that Washington plans to release him once he's able to pass a physical. Norwell is dealing with a right elbow injury that has lingered throughout all of the offseason, which is not good. Norwell injured his hip in Week 17 of last season and did not play in the final game of the season, but did recover from the injury. Washington would save $2.2 million if released before June 1st, which probably does not happen, and does not receive a post-June 1st designation. The Commanders could save $4.3 million against the cap with a post-June 1st designation. The Commanders signed Norwell to a 2-year deal in the last offseason to be their starting guard, but coaches considered his play to be inconsistent and will have more youth along the line, said Coach Ron Rivera. The Commanders plan to have Shaquille Charles, a 2024 round pick, and Chris Paul, no, not that Chris Paul, and a 7th round choice in 2022 competing for the starting left guard position. Norwell was named first team All-Pro in 2017 when Rivera was still head coach of the Panthers. He then signed a 5-year deal with the Jaguars for $66.5 million and was the highest paid guard at the time he signed the deal. Norwell has been paid with the Panthers as an undrafted free agent in 2014 out of the Ohio State. Oh, I said the. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Okay. And one more note here for all you college football lovers out there. With less than 100 days to go before the start of the college football season, the bulk of the September schedule has become final, as ESPN announced yesterday. The dates and times for the first 3 weeks of the schedule and the regular season and the bowl schedule is now intact. Week 1 begins on August 31st at 8 p.m. when Florida faces Utah as a headliner, starting 5 straight days of college football action. The opening week runs through Labor Day. That includes LSU at Florida State on September 3rd and Duke at Clemson on the 4th, which makes a better basketball matchup. September 2nd, we'll have Virginia facing Tennessee, which will be a very emotional game as Virginia will play their first game since the death of 3 teammates on campus during a November 13th shooting. Deshaun Perry, Devon Chandler, and Laval Davis perished in the shooting. Week 2 will feature Texas at Alabama, Notre Dame versus NC State, and Texas A&M versus Miami, and the backyard brawl of Pittsburgh and West Virginia. Oh, yeah. Florida and Georgia will play October 28th as CBS says farewell to the SEC and moves to ESPN. The college football semifinals will be held on January 1st at the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl and the championship game will be played on January 8th. All right, so all the scores are completed, and that's all I've got, so I'll turn it back over to you.
That's episode 57 of True Sports. We'll be back Saturday night for episode 58. He's Lewis. I'm Taylor. Ta-ta.
Good night, folks.